Hi guys, welcome back to Limited Skills. I'm Brandon.
And I'm James.
Today we're going to be previewing the full list of Hour of Devastation, but without actually going through the full list. We're going to look at some highlights and things that stick out to us and seem notable. We're going to use mythicspoiler.com as we cruise through in case you want to browse through and read these cards more in-depthly as we describe vaguely what they do.
Oh god, I ruined everything.
Nope, James ruined everything. So right off, we are hanging out with a bunch of mythics at the top. Those are obviously always good. Also, as usual, I mostly look at these things from a limited perspective. So sealed and draft is going to be my evaluation level of these cards.
Yeah, which is why we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about mythics, because you're only ever going to pull one or two of them in your whole draft experience anyway, so they're good. Play them.
And they're obviously always good.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to note, the gods, if you're ever on the fence on whether they're worth it, I think even just their last ability of when they die, they come back to your hand, I think that alone makes them bomby and powerful.
Yeah.
Never mind that they usually do two other things.
Oh yeah, they're hard to deal with. I want to honorable mention Crested Sunmare, because it's a horse lord that makes horses.
It looks beautiful and majestic.
I think it might be the only horse in the set too. So we're gonna
Probably. I'll keep an eye out for horses.
We do want to talk about the last cycle of cards. They're all good.
Yeah, I don't know. I was going back and forth with it with my roommate for a while, and we were talking about, it seems bad. In constructed environments, I think they are probably questionable. I don't know if any of these will necessarily see standard play, but I think in limited, they're all very good. They're very well costed. I think you're going to be happy with any of these effects in limited, on curve or even later.
Sure. We talked about the hours set, and we can't figure out what the theme of this cycle is.
Yeah, it's a cycle by name, but they don't have anything in common.
At first I thought they were all sort of like removal, exile themed, and then Brandon pointed out to me that Hour of Promise doesn't do that.
No, it's growth themed. It grows land and then dead bodies, apparently.
But the art doesn't suggest to me promise or getting lands. It looks like a swarm of locusts. It looks like some kind of black plague card.
Yeah. So something we talked about looking at the overall set also, so in the last cycle, Bontu's last whatever, it's a board wipe that's reasonably costed at rare level. Two of these hours are board wipes also, the Hour of Revelation in white and the Hour of Devastation in red. So already very shortly through this list, we have 3 board wipes at rare level. So while as I mostly am feeling like the creature curve on this set seems to encourage the aggressive tempo based that Amonkhet set for us, there's going to be a lot more counters and answers to that now.
Yeah, and then it's 3 different mass removal spells in 3 different colors too. We've got a black one that destroys all creatures. There's a white one, well I guess they all destroy all creatures, but they all do slightly different things. They make your opponent sad. I like the defeat cycle. I just like the idea behind the Planeswalkers after the last through romps, through various locations, being all victorious, and then they get curb stomped.
Thematically, I'm all for it. They need to lose more often, in fact. I am not super excited about them as far as limited. They'll be really ideal sideboard cards, but not anything I would intentionally pick highly.
Yeah, it's not going to be often that you're going to counter target Jace Planeswalker spell and Scry 2. But I think the white one's fine. I think if you're playing against a white opponent, you're going to want the white one.
That one is actually probably more notably good because there's so many good white creatures with Embalm and Eternalize.
Yeah. Because it exiles.
So
let's look at... we talked about Amit Eternal, and that card seems very strong.
Yeah, I don't know. 3 mana 5/5, I guess it sometimes has a drawback, but who cares? Like it's got an ability that counters the drawback and then another ability that's just good. So I feel like on average it's going to at least be 3 for a 3/3 usually.
Yeah.
With the Afflict 3, so
which is fine.
Also creature type zombie crocodile demon. That's my new tribal. Chaos Maw is another board wipe at rare level in red. It's a little expensive at 7 mana, but it gives you a big creature and will kill all their small ones, so I think it'll be very good in draft and sealed.
I liked Pride Sovereign. I like that he makes kitty cats. It's pay 1 white and exert, and he makes 2 friends with lifelink. That part I didn't like so much because if you play Pride Sovereign and the rare cat from Amonkhet, who comes into play with 2 cat friends and then gives all cats lifelink, they're a little redundant. But
James doesn't want lifelink on his lifelink.
yeah, I don't want lifelink on my lifelink.
So Torment of Hailfire seems like one of those cards that'll be like 14th pick until people get blown out with it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not going to take a whole lot of mana to just murder somebody with Torment of Hailfire. If your X is 5, I mean, that's getting up to 7 mana and maybe longer than some people want to play their game. But they're either going to have to sack stuff or take 15 damage.
Even if your X is, let's not be greedy here. Let's say you cast it for X is 3. Now, you have a choice between making them lose up to 9 life or sacrificing up to 3 non-land permanents. So in limited, probably going to be creatures.
Yeah.
Or you're going to make them discard cards. And then by the time you cast it for 5, they probably only have bomby things or, removal or something they've been sandbagging to deal with a threat. I think this card's going to be very good, and I think it's going to get people.
Yeah, and like we both mentioned, I think it'll take people by surprise, and they'll think it's bad until they get blown out. Angel of Condemnation is also, I think, one of my top rare picks that I've seen in the set. It just seems very versatile, like it can do a lot of things, and it's going to be very hard for people to play around because just having it out is going to give you a lot of options.
I like saying Magmaroth. That's all I have to say about that card.
Thus, that card is good. It's fine.
I will note that there are cards in this set that care about -1/-1 counters being put on something, but there isn't that like group of creatures like an Amonkhet that comes down and then puts -1/-1 counters on either itself or something else. It seems like there are some corner case things that do something similar, but they're not using that mechanic in this set.
Yeah, you're right. But it does synergize well for when you're playing them together.
Mm-hmm. I like unconventional tactics. I love combat tricks a lot more than Brandon does. And I think this one is going to be very good because it can get itself back.
So I think of this as like just burst damage, like damage to their face. Because it's not really a combat trick, because you're not tricking because it's a sorcery. I do think it's fine. The fact that it can keep coming back on zombies, I think that card seems good. They're gonna be afraid of, he's gonna play a zombie and then fly over my head with that thing again.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as that, I do think it's good. Especially there are, I can think of one. I was gonna say a few, but maybe just one. Creatures that deal an effect based on the amount of damage they deal. The one that comes to mind, there's a black creature that they discard cards equal to the damage that it deals.
Yeah, he was just up here. It's Dreamstealer.
Yeah, and that card seems really good anyway, but being able to give it +3/+3 and flying, if you curve into that, if you play that on turn 3 and then you make it 4 power flying menace on turn 4, you will just win.
You will have destroyed their hand.
Unless they just aggroed you out with all their 2 and 3 drops by then. I can't imagine coming back from that in limited.
No. I think Manticore Eternal is cool because it's Manticore of the Gauntlet, but different. This guy has Afflict 3, and he's a 5/4 who has to attack. So even if they decide to chump block him, they're going to take 3 damage, which is a similar effect to the other Manticore who, when he came into play, he did 3 damage.
That does seem really good.
Less reliable, but...
Also zombie Manticore, which is funny to me.
Oh, so...
There's so much zombie everything.
When you play Manticore Eternal, you can pay a white and get back unconventional tactics. And then you can make
it fly over their head.
Yeah, there are a lot more zombies, I think, in other colors than white and black this time around. And whenever a zombie enters the battlefield under your control, so it'll trigger with your Eternalize and Embalm creatures too.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even think about that. Nice.
What about...
Torment of Scarabs, I just want to note before on that Hailfire, there are a few cards that have that effect of they lose 3 life or discard a card or sack a creature. And that on its own isn't always right, but just piling it onto other effects or making it consistent and repeating. I think all the cards that have that mechanic on it seem really cool.
There's a really old card It's an EDH card, Painful Quandary, and I love it. I hate playing against it. It's too expensive, but whenever an opponent casts a spell, they either have to pay 5 life or discard a card, and that card is backbreaking.
Yeah.
And this effect is not quite as strong, but it's very similar. And I think it's going to end up being kind of backbreaking.
Overcome being a almost strictly worse version of Overrun, other than the fact that it's slightly easier to cast, I think it's going to be a very high pick. I think by nature of the format, as my experiences with the Amonkhet are just pile in 2 and 3 drop, sometimes 4 drop creatures, I think people will finish with an Overcome a lot, and this will be a very valuable uncommon.
Yep. Yeah, Overrun was very good. There's a reason why they don't make that card anymore. I like Doomfall as a modal removal spell.
I think there's a cycle of modal, or maybe more than just 5 modals, and I like them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, modal's always very good. Having options, having more than one effect on a magic card and getting to choose between them, versatility is powerful. And having a removal spell that also does something that could be relevant. Actually, in the last pre-release, I played against an opponent who had 2 copies of Oketra, and I didn't have a way to deal with Oketra. And this is a card that I would sideboard in because it exiles the god as it's in play, or you can exile it from their hand.
It's funny because I think the Hour of card in black specifically gets rid of all the gods of a name or something.
Yeah, it does.
So that's what you needed. You specifically needed that card at that pre-release.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hope Tender sucks.
Yes. All right. So it's 2 for a 2/2.
That's fine, actually. I would play it for that reason.
Yeah.
But
it's a first ability makes no sense. I can't think of anything.
not in limited. I don't think I've seen anything in limited where that matters. But
Yeah. No.
in EDH, you can your Gaia's Cradle or your Nykthos or your Cabal Coffers.
It can
whatever.
do broken things in broken formats.
But I think this card actually does nothing. You're exerting a creature to net a mana.
Which is fine, I guess, if you're trying to cast Sifter Worm. But then you had to play Hope Tender.
Yeah,
So.
then your deck is filled with 2 mana Hope Tenders to ramp there.
Also, Sifter Worm is cool.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I was really fond of Palaka Worm from the, I think, Rise of the Eldrazi.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar. I doubt you'll consistently gain 7 life, but 7 for a 7/7 trample that also lets you stack the top of your deck and gain life might be better.
Yeah. I like Crash Through in that giving your whole board trample is sometimes very important. It might not always be a finisher like the Overrun effect would be, but it lets you draw a card, so it replaces itself. So it's like it's got cycling, kind of.
What? Yeah, except it won't trigger.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not like cycling at all. I don't know if you should play this card or not, but I wanted to point it out. I'm going to put it in an EDH deck.
He's not kidding.
I like Bitterbow Sharpshooters. This is just a generic 4/4. It's got Vigilance and Reach. I just read the card. There you go, guys.
No, he's right though. It does seem good. Like, okay, you might not be tempted to pick it right away in draft, but if it were an uncommon, you'd suddenly realize like that is uncommon level. So for a common, if your commons are that powerful, your deck's going to be really good.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Blur of Blades is kind of interesting. Put a -1/-1 counter and then 2 to their face. I like Frilled Sandwalla because I think this is another card they made somewhere else. Rootwalla?
Basking Rootwalla. It had Madness 0 and was otherwise the same card.
Yep. That's all I have to say about that, though. I think Feral Prowlers.
That's very good.
Yeah.
2 for a 1/3 that then replaces itself, and also it's a cat, which is relevant for several things.
Because they're not gonna want to block it until they need to, so it's gonna let you push in a little bit of damage, or it could block pretty well.
So Solitary Camel, there's a pile of cards that check to see if you have a desert in play or in your graveyard, which is sweet because they cycle or sacrifice for effects. And almost every one of those cards seems good, and I don't think it's going to be difficult in sealed or draft to consistently have a few deserts in your deck.
Yep, I think that's correct. I like Wretched Camel because it's a zombie camel.
Oh, it's cute. They put Sandblast back in this. Makes sense now.
Yeah, it does. Ooh, it's good too. 5 damage to attacking your blocking creature. They put Giant Growth in here, only it costs 1 more and gives reach.
Yeah. Seems fine. F those flyers.
Yeah, no one likes them. There's another hippo. Rampaging hippo. I don't know why that's
Look at its teeth.
Oh. What does Tragic Lesson do? Does it do anything? Then discard a card unless you return it. No.
Oh, it is instant speed, so there's the advantage over Divination.
Okay, sure.
Which is very relevant.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Also, getting to discard stuff isn't always terrible.
Yeah.
The art is creeping me out, though.
Yeah, oh, that's,
Giant Dead Bird Man.
No, that's Kefnet.
Yeah, Giant Dead Bird Man.
That's so sacrilegious. The art on Gilded Ceradon attracts me. I don't know if that means the card is good or not, but like his big golden afro.
That head is too big.
That's a mullet, not an afro.
That is very mulletish. that is a buffalo with a mullet, and when you kill your opponent with it, you let them know it.
No, we talked about God Pharaoh's Faithful as the card that hates green.
Yeah. I think that we discussed that card is playable if you're playing like a slow, control-y, late-game bomb-heavy deck in any 2 colors. Or, sorry, white and any of those. You don't have to play 4 colors to make that card worth it. But
Although you should.
yes.
I think Abraid's generically good removal. I think most of the time it's going to do 3 damage to a creature. It's like 1 more for... It's just slightly overcrossed Lightning Bolt.
There are all those monuments from Amonkhet, in addition to several pretty good-looking artifacts later.
Oh look, Oasis Ritualist is like Land War Elves? This card's weird.
It's a lot better than that other one that exerts for mana.
It does cost 4.
Yeah.
So it's a bizarre kind of ramp.
You can get a 7 mana on turn 5 by itself.
No, that's true.
And like
It fixes
2/4 is
colors?
kind of hard to kill. I think that seems pretty good for mana fixing.
Yeah. I didn't say it was bad, I just said it was weird.
Yeah. We also, we barely actually talked about Eternalize. I think everything with Eternalize is good. I think the worst Eternalize card is 1 for a 1/1 that you can then Eternalize. And I think that's really good value in limited formats.
Because all of them come into play as base power and toughness 4.
Yeah.
And they're all zombies, which is relevant creature type.
And then a lot of them have secondary abilities, or some of them have abilities based on their size. So I think if you play, whatever color you're playing, I feel like you play every card with Eternalize.
It's going to be like Embalm.
Yeah.
Pretty much every creature with Embalm was playable. Let's look at these multicolor spells. I didn't look at these too much.
They all seem really good. They're all very different.
I like River
They're just
Hoopy.
good sizes. If you're in these colors, you play it. They're not like strong to a theme that they only fit in this like certain niche things. Because even the zombie one that actually has 2 zombie abilities is a zombie and can affect itself, and that's worth it on its own.
Unlike the multicolor spells in the last set, which if you were green-white and for some reason not the Exert deck, that card didn't really do very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Split cards are are back. Leave to chance. Consigned. Are there any removal? Any mass removal here? There's mass
removal. I don't believe so.
Return any number of target permanents to your hand. That could help you dodge removal.
Yeah, and then you
card's
can
really
let you throw away garbage cards into card advantage too. I thought it seemed really cool. Reason sticks out to me. It is a very unique to look at a card that just says Scry 3. And granted, it's only half of the card, and it works well with Believe, obviously. There's something like very therapeutic about seeing such simple card text
3.
For 1 blue. Scry 3.
Yep. Normally blue is the wall of text color. Discard a card unless you draw a card, and then pass a card, and then counter target spell.
So we finally got God Pharaoh's Gift to follow up that we can, I think, tutor for it with an artifact in Amonkhet.
Yep.
It's a little expensive. It seems okay. It's not something you just cram into every deck, but if you got one of those slow late game decks,
it's kind of grindy.
You'll see me play it as it gets passed around the table, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. He'll put it in his top end. I liked Abandoned Sarcophagus. I thought that card was really neat in the cycling deck. It's not so expensive that I would consider passing it up. Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it lets you get extra value out of your cycle cards. I like the art on Sunset Pyramid. I like that this is taking brick counters off
Yeah.
Screw that pyramid.
I also think that card seems pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Pay 2, draw a card, and then it's just pay 2, scry 1, which can be fine in the late game when you're trying to dig for something to push through. Which is pretty much how this card works, isn't it? It comes down early, it can let you draw cards if you don't have much to do, and then at the end of the game it can help you fish for that answer.
And that's a pretty cheap rate for cards for a reoccurring effect. And even though it's got 3 counters, you can add counters to it other ways as well.
So I think my prediction is that it's going to be great in sealed, and as your 23rd or 24th card in standard, or not standard, in limited.
Draft. Yeah, I could get behind that.
I think Manolith is just fine. I don't have much to say about any of these cards. Well, Crook of Condemnation, it lets you exile cards from graveyards, so you can hate away their Embalm or their Eternalized creatures, which could be really relevant. And then to pay 1, exile the whole thing, get rid of everyone's graveyard. So if your deck doesn't care about it, you can wait till they try and bring something back and then just flush away their whole graveyard. Right? It works that way. You can exile this in response.
I'd have to look at the ability.
Okay.
I don't know if it probably goes on the stack. I think you'd have to do it before they try to.
Oh, okay. Well, worry about that. Can't do this in response? Probably. That's what our judge says.
Probably. Yeah. Sounds like most of my rulings. So you might notice some of these rare lands. Actually, almost every land here, except for the Grixis colored one, is a desert. So there are, 5 colorless deserts, and they all have various abilities on them. Most of them care about other deserts, and then there's also 10 colored deserts. So there's 2 other cycles of deserts.
He's telling me to scroll down. I was trying to figure out how a card worked. I'm sorry.
So you've got some that cycle sort of traditionally for cycle lands, but the fact that they're deserts makes them a lot better, and then 5 that just have abilities on them that not only they don't just have to sacrifice themselves, you can sacrifice any desert. So you can make desert tribal and sort of really spam these abilities for a strategy.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, these are all relevant sort of late game effects when you have too much mana. The white one is an Anthem. The blue one, that could be relevant. The blue one mills.
It can fuel your Eternalize.
Yeah, it's true. Black one's removal. The red one is damage to the face. These cards are cool.
I do think because there are so many things that check deserts, and sacrificing and having multiple deserts, it might seem like boring picks in draft, but I think the deserts are going to go pretty quickly because there's going to be a lot of cards that people are wanting to make sure are turned on.
Yep.
So I'm not saying pick these early. They're not first picks. Don't flood your picks with deserts, but don't forget about them. Expect to get them in the last 4 or 5 picks of each pack. Because they'll probably be gone before then.
Yeah.
I'll be picking them early.
Well, we've basically gotten to the end of these cards. Invocations. If you open an invocation, it's probably going to be good to play. I don't even know what they are. Do you have any thoughts you want broadly on the set?
Yeah, so I think a lot of what stick out to me as the best cards are very aggressive or tempo based, which follows with Amonkhet that it's going to complement those black-green aggro decks or those blue-white flyer decks, with the exception that there are at least 4 rare level board wipes that will answer things pretty thoroughly. So I think there's going to be a lot more opportunities for those strategies to just get hosed and reversed. So as I think there are good complements to the aggressive strategy, there are a lot more opportunities to have slower, bomb-heavy control-y decks. So I'm expecting more variety.
Cool. Well, let us know what you think about the set, and if you think we're completely off base. And I guess we'll find out in a week, because we are going to play all 3 days.
Oh yeah, playing all weekend.
Yeah.
I'm not judging anything this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just playing Magic.
There will be multiple 2-headed giant events. If you think Brandon and I should do a 2-headed giant event, let us know in the comments. Because I don't think we're planning on it right now.
We'll take suggestions for team names.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anything. We'll do it. Thanks for watching, guys.